Welcome to the Shyamcast. This is Brett.
This is Shyam.
Thank you so much for being here with us. Hi, Shyam. How's it going?
Going well. How are you?
Doing well. Thank you.
One more week. Excited to discuss something.
Yeah, me too. We're finishing chapter 5 today.
Yeah, you told me last time. Okay.
Mm, yeah.
Oh.
We're going to do the last verse
Oh.
of chapter
And everybody knows that. Yes.
5. Yeah. Well, anything you'd want to mention or talk about before we just jump into it, Prabhuji?
Talk about any special day today? Nothing on
Mm,
calendar, right?
I don't think so. Just Thursday.
It's just Thursday. Today is 27th.
Yeah, 27th.
Ah, today is Amavasya.
Okay.
Amavasya is like no moon day.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Guess we might call that new moon here.
We call it new moon.
Yeah.
Oh,
I like that
because it
no
starts
moon day.
from zero. Huh.
Yeah.
Yeah. We
Okay.
call it
Very good.
full moon and new moon. What do we call full moon here?
Full moon.
Oh, so new moon and full. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. I guess that's the same across cultures.
Uh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Very nice. So new moon, fresh beginning, new month in the Vedic calendar, right?
Mm. Uh, uh. Actually, there are two ways. We calculate in our tradition, we'll calculate from Purnima to Purnima or full moon to full moon.
Okay.
Some they calculate from new moon to new moon. So
Gotcha.
there are two ways in India. Yeah.
Sure. So we're either at the beginning of the month or right in the middle of a month, depending
Yeah.
on which one you're using.
How we see. Yeah.
Yeah. Very nice. Well, I heard once that it's good to start things right after the full moon if you're like looking to take on a new project or something like that.
That's what they say.
Hmm.
After the full moon
Right after the new moon.
to start something.
Yeah. Like energy's picking up or something to start new projects. So, yeah, just came to my mind anyway. Alrighty. Would you want to jump into the Gita, Prabhuji?
Yeah. Yes. Let's
Okay.
go for it. Let's
So
see.
last time, we talked about um, this this person who is going to be liberated in the very near future and how they are, may have many different things. They're free from desire, they're free from anger, um, self-disciplined. And we talked a lot about how, they're constantly endeavoring or always working, right? Like
Mm.
spiritual progress, and especially for those who are very serious about it, requires, constant effort to be put in and always endeavoring, always trying to serve, always working towards it. And the last verse of chapter 5, number 29, which we're going to talk about today, um, it's, I guess it sort of describes what this person in the culmination of that hard work, sort of how, what they're conscious of, or, how they're aware of Krishna
Mhm.
as, the real personality who he is. So,
Mhm.
um, anyway, I will read that verse then.
Mm.
And my cat, who is a more frequent visitor these days,
Yes,
is
yes. Mm.
gonna hold one of my hands back. Okay. So verse 29. A person in full consciousness of me, knowing me to be the ultimate beneficiary of all sacrifices and austerities, the supreme lord of all planets and demigods, and the benefactor and well-wisher of all living entities, attains peace from the pangs of material miseries. So of course this is Krishna speaking. Well, I'll read it one more time.
Mm.
A person in full consciousness of me, knowing me to be the ultimate beneficiary of all sacrifices and austerities, the supreme lord of all planets and demigods, and the benefactor and well-wisher of all living entities, attains peace from the pangs of material miseries.
mm,
Mm. So a lot of what we've talked about throughout this whole podcast, but I think chapter 5, specifically talks about this a lot, trying to get rid of the pangs of material miseries and the different qualifications that go
mm,
along with that, or the different characteristics
mm,
that, one has who has attained that kind of peace. And, Krishna is really giving us here a very direct sort of pointing a finger directly at what it is. It's like you need to realize me, as in Krishna, um, and realize who I am, right? You need
mm,
to understand who I am. And that is really the thing that's going
mm,
to give that peace. That's really,
mm,
that knowledge is really the thing that gives that
mm,
peace.
mm, mm.
So a lot here, Prabhuji.
Yeah, a lot here.
Um, yeah. Anything that you just like off the bat, any thoughts or anything that the verse makes you think of or comes to mind?
Yeah. So the first thought that comes is peace formula. So this verse, Srila Prabhupada describes as the peace formula for all living entities.
Hmm.
And here Krishna says, can attain peace. So there are three things. If one see Krishna as those three things, then one will become peaceful. And we will discuss maybe one by one. Another quick thing that comes to my mind is banks of material miseries. This material world is full of such things, and we are living in this world, so naturally we will be impacted by those things, those miseries.
Hmm.
But then these three things can give us relief.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, the thing that comes to mind for me, like the word pangs, um, a lot of times is used with reference to hunger and how we have hunger pangs.
Mm, mm,
And it's a good sort of image to think of, it's more broadly just all of our material desires. We feel pangs, sort of constantly the way we hunger after food, we kind of hunger after everything that we
mm,
want. And yeah, so this is really like, as you say, I mean, this is Krishna telling you these are the things that if you know this, if you do this, those pangs go away. It's like you don't have to feel hungry anymore.
mm,
Um, so I suppose we can get into those three things.
mm,
I have a question I'd like to ask, but I think it would probably be
mm,
best if we save that for later, after we talk about the three different sort of
mm,
qualifications that Krishna is talking about.
mm,
So the first one is knowing him to be the ultimate beneficiary
mm,
of all sacrifices and austerities.
mm, mhm.
Mm.
So
So,
the Sanskrit word used is bhoktaram yagya tapasa. So yagya is sacrifice, tapa is austerity, and bhoktaram means one who knows that I am the enjoyer of all the sacrifice and all the austerities.
mm, he's the enjoyer. So instead of thinking that I'm the enjoyer
Mm,
or doing something because I want to enjoy it,
mm, mm,
he's saying that the reality is that he actually is the enjoyer,
mm, mm,
right? Like it's sort of if we think that we are the enjoyer, that is part of the illusion
mm,
of Maya, right?
mm,
And
mm,
so, yeah, it's like he's really pointing directly, saying like, "This is the fact. This is how it is. I'm
mm,
Krishna. Krishna
mm,
is the enjoyer
mm,
of all these activities.
mm,
And if you sacrifice something, give up your time to help somebody or in some sort of service, for example. But if you think of it in terms of I'm enjoying this or sort of I'm doing this in order to make myself feel good, maybe.
Mm.
He's saying, you're still in the illusion, right? You have to understand that it
Mm.
is him who is the enjoyer of that sacrifice.
Mm.
Can you talk a little bit about that and how we can understand that?
For example, we cook. There is sacrifice involved. I mean, we get up, maybe we take shower, cut the vegetables, go through the whole process, and then who is the enjoyer? You know? Or maybe we go out for work. So we get up in the morning, again get ready, go work hard. It's again a yagya, like a work as a sacrifice. And who is the enjoyer?
Mm.
And so many things we do on daily basis. Na? They're all forms of yagyas, forms of sacrifice. We are taking hardship or pain, or we are extending ourselves, um, going somewhere. Now the question is, who is the enjoyer? It's very tough actually. So
Mm.
Krishna says, one who knows I am the enjoyer of everything you do. It's more easily relatable to like cooking. Obviously, who cooks for Krishna? I mean, some devotees do, but generally speaking, who cooks for the Lord? It's like the first thought is, I'm cooking this one, I'm gonna eat. Then I become the enjoyer. So naturally, it's like Srila Prabhupada says in one of the lecture. Prabhupada says there is only one bhokta, and that is Krishna. And one who accepts that. To not accept that, this is a little bit harsh, but is a sign of envy. And what is envy? Envy means I cannot see somebody else as the enjoyer. Somebody has a better, maybe a better job or more wealth, or any other material possession or a material relationship. Somebody has better than I want that. Why I don't have that? So it's like the nature of envy is I am the enjoyer. And same thing when we want Krishna to be the enjoyer, then and we are like, no, why should Krishna be the enjoyer? I am the enjoyer. So that is actually envy against Krishna.
Mm. I suppose that would be also, it's sort of like putting us on the same level with him, if we're
Uh,
thinking that way, right? Sort of like
or
I want to be enjoying, I don't want him to. It's just like I think that about, some guy I know. I don't want him to enjoy this. I want to enjoy it.
same level is like little bit better. We are like making him non-existent. I only exist. Same level, let's share. No sharing also. You go away. I everything is for me. That becomes the cause of dukh or suffering.
Mm.
In fact, today, yeah,
Sure. Yeah, go ahead, Broji.
today we were having Bhagavatam discussion. It is from third canto, Lord Kapila's teachings to Devahuti. So Lord Kapila was mentioning a realized soul. The more one become realized, he becomes very reluctant to enjoy, to engage in any form of uh, pleasure in this world. Very reluctant, because he sees how those pleasure, he sees fault in those pleasures. So when we do something for ourselves, for some pleasure, then we see what is the after effect of that. What am I going through from that? And then when we see the fault in that, then we become reluctant. Hey, I'm going through a lot because of this. I don't want this. So when one sees fault um, in like sensory activities or any form of subtle or physical sensory activities, when one sees fault, then one starts to discriminate this. I don't want this, and then one eventually becomes very reluctant, and one fully focuses on one's relationship with the divine, and that's how one attains perfection. Amazing, actually.
Mhm. There's a rise in transcendental pleasure as one gives up material pleasure,
Ah,
right? So I've been told. And I suppose that still it sort of has to be the case. It's not like the spiritual teaching is that one has to like dry up their
ah,
life, right?
mm,
And just like, no, you can't have any, you don't get to feel good at all. You don't get to, I think maybe that, uh, there's maybe, there can be confusion on that topic or, because it's like, we're sort of differentiating here between material pleasure and transcendental pleasure, or material anything and transcendental anything.
mm,
Um, and so, yeah, I guess that's um, an important point anyway. As, we give up certain material pleasures because, as you say, we do, like, one comes to see a little bit more clearly how something is actually ultimately causing
mm,
themselves pain
mm,
and probably some other people around them as well.
mm,
Um, and engaging in something that does not ultimately cause anybody pain,
mm, mm,
it sort of leaves one feeling good, happy.
mm,
And it's a different sort of pleasure. It's not something that one can take responsibility or sort of take ownership of.
mm,
Um, there is
mm,
responsibility for your actions, of course, but it's
mm,
not like this is mine and it's my pleasure and I'm going to enjoy it and I'm going to keep it from everybody else. Right? It's the kind of thing that others want, like people want to share with others when
mm.
they experience it.
Exactly opposite nature is material pleasure. I want to enjoy that, and that's all.
Mm.
Spiritual is I want everybody to enjoy, and that's how I enjoy even more.
Mm. Ah, yeah, that's really good. That's really good. I mean, it's maybe a very simple thing, but I think that's pretty profound, I mean, the spiritual thing is spiritual enjoyment is it's always better when there's more, right? It's always better when there's more people and more people are experiencing and more people are being elevated and
Everybody
people are
enjoys.
yeah, everybody wants to lift each other up, you know. Very different from everybody who sort of wants to push everybody else down so that they can be on the top of the hill.
Mm,
Yeah. One thing, Proji, that I'm wondering maybe you can talk about a little bit more as we're talking about Krishna being the enjoyer of all of our sacrifices, austerities, but also all of our actions. I suppose in Krishna consciousness, everything ideally is a sacrifice.
mm,
Um, but he's the enjoyer of all of our actions, right? Of all of the things that we do. Can you talk about that a little bit specifically? And I'm thinking in terms of, the like the constitutional position of the living entity, like we discussed a little bit last time, like how us being a part of God, like part and parcel, um, and using that to understand a little bit more, how is it that why is Krishna the enjoyer? Why are we not the enjoyer? And why is that, like the goal? Why is the goal to understand that Krishna is the enjoyer?
That's where we find like real satisfaction is by taking shelter and by giving him pleasure. Like as you rightly mentioned, our constitutional position is we are part and parcel of divine, or we are meant to serve the divine. And when we are actually engaged in serving the divine, we are acting according to our original nature. And when the machine is used for what it is designed for, performance is best.
Mhm.
We are meant to serve. We are made to serve. And actually, the Object of service is the enjoyer.
Mm. I think there's an analogy that just came to mind that is used at different points, especially in Bhagavatam, um, where God is, think of the universe
Mm,
as the body of God.
mm,
Um, Even though there's, in the cosmology, there's many universes and things, but just to keep it,
mm,
simple, the universe is the body of God, and there's different sort of sections or levels,
mm,
um, but each living entity being a part sort of the same nature, sort of like a tiny, like an infinitesimal part of that body is like a cell in that body.
mm,
And so I guess that's the explanation of how all living entities are one, how they all
mm,
are comprised, they're all like pieces of this body.
mm,
And for a body to work correctly and it have its greatest level of happiness and health and satisfaction, all the pieces have to be working correctly.
mm,
And so each cell and each organ and each part of the body has to be working together, it for the body to be healthy. And when when we are selfish or envious,
mm,
um it's like the cell is sort of trying to be its own body, you
mm,
know, doesn't want anything to do with a larger body anymore and doesn't want to work with these other cells, wants to compete with the cells, wants to win over those other cells. And and in this world when we see people acting in that way, it's like there's never a good result, you know. Somehow dukkha is always there. It's always a result, even for the person who wins, in a certain dispute, who temporarily comes out the victor of something. Ultimately that victory brings suffering later on.
mm,
And um, yeah, I think if we think of it like that, we are a part of the same body. So when we all work together, it's like everything benefits. And
mm,
that helps me picture it a little bit more, I suppose, at least, and especially
mm,
in terms of why it's so much better when there are more people and everybody's working together, encouraging each other. It feels completely natural. That's a
mm,
circumstance that just feels like this is the right thing to do. This is what I'm supposed to be doing. You know,
mm.
nothing else really needing to be said about that, right? That just feels like that's the right thing.
To add something more to your analogy, I was also thinking, how about when one cell is not cooperating? Okay. How about if there are many cells in that area who are not cooperating?
Mm.
All the cells in a particular zone, that's like our three planet in Kali Yuga. Like all the cells in the universal form of the Lord not cooperating. And chaos everywhere. And then I was thinking there are two options now. Either it's like that's what cancer is, right? Particular cells are like produce something which is like unwanted and kind of it's not very good for the body. I was thinking two options are there. Either the cells are removed or the cells are trained and aligned to refunction. And I was thinking the cells aligned to refunction is Lord Chaitanya. Like he's coming and aligning all the cells and directing them in the right direction. And other incarnations of the Lord are like, okay, remove these cells. I mean, it's still good. They are liberated still. But Lord Chaitanya is the most merciful. It is mentioned. So he is coming and okay, you don't have to worry about it. I'll help you. I'll help you to become like part of the whole and cooperate with the whole through devotional service, direct in that direction. So I thought that is nice.
Mm. So the second part of the verse, or the second thing that Krishna says, if you understand this about me, right? He says that he is the supreme lord of all planets and demigods. So sort of comes, I guess we can talk about the universal form, right? In chapter 11, actually, he will show the universal form to Arjuna. Um, but that's the second thing that he says, if you're in full consciousness of me, if you know this about me, if you know I'm the supreme lord of all planets and demigods. Um, One thing that I would just mention as well, Prabhuji, the Sanskrit for Supreme Lord is Maha Ishvaram, and Ishvaram meaning Lord.
Mm,
Um, and I believe Ishvaram also has a meaning of controller, or like the
mm,
one who is in control.
mm.
So, that's an additional layer of meaning, I guess, into, when we think of what is Supreme Lord.
Bro, can you pause for a moment?
Yeah, Prabhuji. So,
Mm,
yeah, Ishvaram. Just
mm,
also, I guess there's probably a lot of meanings to the word Ishvaram, um, but that's one that I know as well. It's, controller. So it's sort of saying, in one sense, he's saying if you understand that I'm in control, that I'm
mm,
like the one who has created and who is making all of these pieces go, right? If you're in
mm,
in knowledge of that, um,
mm,
of all planets and demigods.
mm, mm.
Mm.
Amazing, bro. Yeah, Maha Ishwaram. Maha Ishwaram becomes Maheshwaram.
Mm.
Mm,
Oh yeah, that's right. I was looking at the word for word. Aha, Ishvaram.
mm.
Mm,
So Maheshwaram is, yeah, the supreme controller.
mm.
There are many prayers, na, how the Lord is the cause of all causes. And
What's one
for
example?
that Brahma's prayer, na, Ishwara Parama Krishna. Again, it's the same thing. Ishwara Parama. That Parameshwar or Mahaishwar, same thing. So Brahmaji prays Ishwara Parama Krishna. And he says Sarva Karana Karanam. He's the cause of all causes. And most of the prayers in Bhagavatam they call Krishna as cause of everything. Supreme cause.
Mm,
And another thing is Loka for us refers to he's a proprietor of all the planets. So everything that is within the planet also he's a proprietor. Whether it's the house or the car or whatever one may possess, he's a proprietor. And we see many times there are contentions because of issues in proprietorship. Brothers fight for where the property will go to, ancestral property, and
mm,
this is mine, this is my division. So many fightings comes because of this money matters or possession, proprietorship matters. And Krishna says, sir, nothing belongs to none of you. Everything belongs to me only. You are fighting, it's my son. No, it's all mine. So that really resolves everything. But it's very hard. Ultimately, we may say, my, and then we leave the body. Then whom does that belong to? So Krishna says, I am the proprietor.
mm. Yeah, I really like those examples, Froji. I think inheritance is such a big issue
Mm,
of contentment or contention, not contentment, contention.
mm,
Um, and just general business dealings. Um,
mm,
who owns the company? Think of like
mm.
when Facebook started and there's a movie about it, the big
There's a,
controversies around. Yeah. What's that, Proji?
there's a movie around it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Wow.
the people who started Facebook and one of them sort of got cut out eventually. Um, so there's always these things that happen in the world, and particularly in our commerce, anything that has to do with money, ownership, um, and it certainly points to how all of these things that take up so much of our time and energy
Mm, mm,
in our daily life that many of us would consider our lives to have no real sort of purpose or no real meaning without these things. Sort of like, what
mm,
would I be doing if I wasn't struggling my hardest to take as much as I can of this marketplace, and earn respect and earn more money and earn all of these other things, like what would I be doing? Um, but really, no, really what Krishna is talking about, what we're talking about here is
mm,
the real position. If you can give some of those things up, right? Internally, try to give up that feeling of ownership. Try to give
mm,
up that feeling of striving towards a goal for oneself and surrender.
mm, mm,
That's where like the real identity lies. That's where true
mm,
happiness lies.
mm,
And yeah, it's like a very hard thing to encounter with a worldly mind, you know.
mm,
I can definitely say that having a very worldly mind, I could say it's a difficult thing to encounter. Um, but I suppose it comes a lot from association. It comes
mm,
a lot from reading. It comes a lot from being around other people and
mm,
just witnessing the results of other people's um, paths, along this journey, right? Their successes and failures along the way, but ultimately witnessing so many people who are a lot happier giving up the results and who seem to be gaining wisdom as they go along the way, seem to be becoming more loving along the way, seem to be,
mm,
watching people do that is really a big, it's like that's where, for myself, it's where a lot of the faith comes from,
mm,
and I would include that in reading as well. You read up people's books, you say, wow, these people who have dedicated their life to this, they're
mm,
speaking to what the results are. They're telling you, in a very straightforward manner,
mm,
what the results are of doing this.
mm,
So
mm,
yeah, it's like that's sort of where, for me, like that's where the proof is.
mm,
All the
mm,
people who have done it, they're reporting back to us.
mm. Also, I was thinking, even various emotions arise from that, like pride arise.
Mm,
I'm this great, better than others. I have this, or um, anger arises between different people based on these, like as you said, contention. Envy arises. Somebody has more than that. I don't have that kind that they have. I don't like them. I want. So see, so many emotions, negative emotions are arising because I'm the proprietor. And
mm,
Krishna says, sir, none of you are actually proprietor. I am the proprietor. Krishna is one who can understand this. He becomes peaceful. Short time, Prabhu. Short time we live and then we keep on claiming proprietorship and then we go. What's the point?
mm. Wow.
And I love the point you mentioned. You read people's story and then you see what happened to them, and that's the proof. That's what happens. How so much like peace is not there. Obviously, peace is not there. Peace is far away, far, far away.
Mm. Yeah, Prabhuji, it's what it's so special when somebody has sort of come a long way and is
Mm,
able to report back, through books or lectures or whatever it might be, because there
mm,
really aren't very many
mm,
examples, generally speaking, right? In terms of all the people who live right now, all the people who have lived, there's a famous Gita verse where Christian talks about how rare it is, for someone to really achieve
mm,
this goal that he's speaking of. Um, and so, when people are able, when someone has done it and or they're very far anyway, and they let you in. It's like they let people in on it. It feels like it's so secretive in a
mm,
sense, especially as you're sort of getting into it. And then you kind of come to realize like it's really not, there's a lot here that's really not secretive.
mm,
Maybe there's other things that you sort of have to you have to be learned enough, you have to be practiced enough, and certain things come. But there's so much information that Bhagavad Gita, as a perfect example, is just telling us. It's just telling us. It's kind of a matter of if we're open to hearing, willing to hear, you know, if we allow that in.
Mm, mm. Yeah. I was also thinking of some other examples, like contrary examples, which are like Ravana, Hiranyakashipu. They're like great examples of they want to be the proprietor and they want to be the enjoyer. So much anxiety. Every little thing doesn't go right. Anger. So much anxiety. They're constantly fighting. Why? Because like they are treading an artificial path, which is not natural. And so
Mm,
so many opposition and from the Lord, from the devotees, and from everybody, and they're just like putting all energy fighting, 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 and such a life of misery actually. Yet it's a feeling that I am great, I am the enjoy, just living in that feeling. But what are you getting out of it? It's like
mm. Wow.
pain, misery, anxiety, and that's all you get actually.
Yeah. I think Proji, as you're explaining that, it seems it seems like that very life, that sort of that anxious life to, in order to get more or to be the best, is sort of it's a part of the material illusion. It's a part of
Mm,
the sort of the curse of Maya, of material existence, because
mm,
that's and I mean I think it's sort of it's the thing that people are really looking to get, and it's the thing that they, show respect to.
mm,
Or many people. I'm not going to group everybody into one, but many people will, it's like that's what they respect. They respect the person who's very, very, crazy busy, working so hard, super anxious, angry. It doesn't really matter at a certain point if they get angry a lot. It matters like, do they have the results? Do they have success in what their enterprise is? Have they made it big? Um, and
mm,
it's like it's sort of part of the illusion, right? It's like so many of us are thinking that that's the thing that we need to go to. And I suppose in those, examples you give of Ravana, Hiranyakashipu, they're sort of stand-ins for the very successful people in the world, in a way, right?
mm.
Because that's really,
So,
yeah.
so those are like extreme examples, and here we are like teeny Hiranyakashipu and teeny Ravana.
Mm.
And some glimpse of that
Yeah.
results. But everyone is following the footsteps actually. But those are like extreme example. Like they want to control the whole universe. Here they want to control maybe something little.
Yeah, for
Like,
sure. Yeah.
just a
With some of
difference
us,
in population.
we just want to control the local restaurant.
Yeah, yeah,
There's just so
something
many.
fun. Yeah, and the
Yeah.
result is the same.
Yeah, none of us are like Hiranyakashipu,
Oh.
doing thousands of years of austerity and having our flesh eaten by ants.
Yeah. And their power, like nobody can kill them. They're like invincible. Bro.
Mm,
Lord has to come in a very special form to so that's like extreme cases. And then that
yeah.
represents the society in a way.
Mm. Those are two, those are examples because they're so extreme. It's also, there are also stories about how no matter how powerful or successful somebody gets, they
Mm,
they can't take the position of God, right?
mm,
Even if that's the goal that they're going after for their whole life, and they give everything up and they become extreme, more powerful than anyone on earth, even many of the demigods, right? um
mm,
it's these are still examples of how you just one cannot get so much power,
mm,
that they can become the most powerful.
mm, mm.
Mm,
And like you mentioned, you use the word illusion, and that's what illusion does is I'll be happy by this.
mm,
And that's what they were constantly convinced. This is what success is. This is what will give me happiness. But their
mm,
whole life went in misery, Prabhu, and God. So there is a false promise that lies there.
mm. Hmm. So moving from Krishna is supreme lord, supreme controller of all things, sort of the most powerful, right? Most powerful, to the third and final component of this verse that he says, if you know this about me.
Mm.
And that last thing is the benefactor and well-wisher of all living entities.
Amazing.
Yeah. So sort of moving, thinking about how, the power and the glory, as a lot of people, would say, that aspect of God, and moving to, I'm the benefactor of all, I'm the well-wisher of all, right? Every living entity. And so that is the third, and maybe it's significant that that's the final thing that he mentions. That, yeah.
I remember one devotee was mentioning that, Prabhu, please pray. I'm going through a lot of stress at work. And then later on, he said, actually, I was hearing to my spiritual master, and Maharaj is mentioning that how whatever situation Krishna has put us into is will help us grow and deepen our relationship with the Lord. And the Lord will, I mean, for a devotee, everything is orchestrated by the Lord, even a suffering situation. Just brings the devotee out. In a way, the Lord, why I'm saying this is the Lord is well wisher, means when a devotee is in anxiety, why this is happening, the devotee can think that whatever is happening, Krishna's arrangement, and Krishna is doing this for my benefit. So with that, that Krishna's hand is there, Krishna has put me in this situation for my benefit. Then a devotee does not want to come out of that anxious situation or unpeaceful situation, but he sees the hand of the Lord and he becomes pacified. My Lord, whatever helps me to come closer to you, let that continue. If there is suffering, let it continue. Because like the principle that Krishna is our well-wisher and he is in control. What do you think?
Yeah, Prabhuji, there's one example that's coming to mind of, well, I suppose, an answer to, I guess what you're, I think you're addressing sort of the question that would come up. Well, if Krishna's our well-wisher, then, right, why is there pain and why is there suffering? Um, I feel like I've been hearing a lot recently from just different sources. It feels like it's coming up more and more just in my life recently, how, it's, there's a quote, something I'm not gonna say it exactly, but um, the wise see opportunities in challenges instead of challenges in opportunities. So like when a challenge comes up, you see it as an opportunity, to grow, to learn something, to,
Mm,
improve, to help
mm,
somewhere. And the reverse of that would be something comes up and we just immediately go, it's just a hardship. It's just something that's going to weigh on me and that I'm going to dread thinking about and dread doing. Um, and the example that's coming to mind anyway is like when a mother decides to give a baby up for adoption.
a
Um,
baby?
a baby, yeah. Whether it's, I
Mm,
guess, whether it's the mother or both parents or however it works, when a baby is, you know, given to adopt up to adoption to a different family,
mm,
um, it's I mean, I'm sure it's an extremely difficult decision, right?
mm,
It's got to be so painful. There's got to be so much suffering, so much just, that
mm,
goes into that. But
mm,
the parents are ultimately thinking that this is going to be better for this child, that they're going to have a better life with someone else because of whatever situation they're in. They're
mm,
thinking, we can't provide for this baby the way someone else
mm,
could. And
mm,
so we're going to give this baby to them, right?
mm,
Um, very difficult thing to do, but
mm,
it's, and that child as they grow up, they might struggle with that. but probably as an adult, they'll ultimately come to understand why they were put up for adoption, why they were, given to this family. And, in many cases, people are ultimately sort of grateful, to their birth parents because they got into this very nice situation. And that's an example I guess we can use,
Mm.
when
Wonderful.
really difficult things happen in life. Sort
Mm.
of like, how could you let this happen to me? I
Mm.
think everybody has something that if it's so bad, I can handle this and that, but if it gets to this level, then I feel like I can't handle it or I can't, have faith with that, if that thing were to happen. And yeah, I suppose it's like we that's part of giving up control or giving up the sense of control that I'm in control of this life. I'm in
Mm.
control of the world and everything that happens.
Mm.
And
Mm.
it's such a better way to go through life if you can
Mm.
say I don't know why this is happening or um but I'm going to give up, you know, that sense of control. I'm going to trust that ultimately this is going to be the best situation.
Amazing. Mm. Same mother child, I was also thinking an example of, like, on a, that is like a very good example. This on a smaller level. The mother send the child to school.
Mm,
The child is like, why my mom's sending me here? I don't like this place and she's forcing me to be in this situation. But they know that that's how the child will grow. Another thing I was thinking, when the child grows up, the child cannot walk. Then sometimes he tries to walk and he falls down.
mm,
Then the mother is at the corner. Mother just doesn't come and lift the child. She's at the corner. Come, 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 come. So she wants the child to get up on himself or herself and walk a little bit further. Again, the child falls down, cry, no, no, don't worry, come, 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 come. So in this way, the mother is encouraging, but the child is going through a difficult situation, bro. He is getting up, he is falling, it's paining. But if the mother every time picks him, he will never learn to walk.
mm,
It's like training. So likewise, Lord puts us in this situation. Keep walking, keep coming, keep coming, keep coming. No, that's fine. It's difficult situation. Just focus on your seva. Focus, focus. Take association. Don't worry about it. Keep moving forward. Keep moving forward. Don't feel guilty about it. If you cannot walk properly, just keep trying.
mm,
So ultimately, as you said, he's our well-wisher. That faith, you said like, we put trust. Okay, I trust the situation.
mm. I like that example a lot, Proji, uh, because we are like children,
Mm.
even those of us who are in adult bodies, and yeah, children want to be coddled. Children want to be just always given everything that they want right away.
Mm.
And I mean, if we're honest with ourselves, I think, we definitely, a lot of us have that in us. We want what we want and we want it right now. And we don't
Mm.
want to, we want what's pleasurable. We don't want what's painful, the old
Mm.
adage. And we are kind of like children in that way, right? So when we learn, when something gets hard and we kind of have a lesson to learn or a
Mm.
challenge to overcome, it's easy to
Mm.
kind of want to cry and have a tantrum and instead of
Mm.
instead of continuing and working on it. So yeah, I really
Also, we do
appreciate
have
that.
shortcomings. No? We do have shortcomings. So Krishna puts us exactly in a situation where we can ourselves overcome our shortcomings. Krishna gives us opportunities to overcome our shortcomings. And when we don't overcome, some suffering comes. So Krishna puts us right there where we act according to our nature, but it's a shortcoming. Krishna, so it seems like a hard, and you're like so much stress. No, I can't handle this. And then Krishna has put us in this situation for a very clear purpose. It's hard to understand and see the end of Krishna. Krishna knows what he wants us to come out of. Because
Mm,
those are stumbling blocks in our progress.
mm. Yeah, the perfect thing comes along at the perfect time. It seems like the perfect Or I guess it's like sometimes if it's a challenge, it may be the exact thing that you don't
Mm,
want to have happen, I
mm, mm.
suppose, right? Um, yeah.
Another example comes to my mind is a gold is purified when put into the fire. Then the impurities comes on the surface, impurities are removed, and pure 24 karat gold comes out.
Mm,
So first thing is we are put into this fire of difficult situations. Then all the impurities comes and starts leaving. And then the pure nature of the soul of selfless service will emerge. So trusting Lord situation.
mm,
And we don't want to come out of those situations. We should not want to come, my Lord, please finish this. This is a lot. And Krishna may finish it to give it again after few weeks because he really wants us to improve. Rather we say, my Lord, like one Bhakti Tirth Maharaj, if you heard about him, Bhakti Tirth Maharaj, he was mentioning, my Lord, please put me in situations, no matter how difficult they are, that can help me come closer to you. And Maharaj, it's a very difficult prayer because we are putting ourselves in a vulnerable situation. Do whatever you want with me, put me in whichever situation you want, and can help me come closer to you. So really,
mm.
that is the
Wow.
focus. In what I go through is not so important, but the goal is that is important.
Wow. Yeah, very scary prayer to go, right?
Very, very vulnerable. We are putting ourselves vulnerable. But he says it's a hard prayer, but it's wonderful prayer because
Mm,
our goal is whatever helps me come closer to you, clear the path to you, put me in
mm,
those situations.
mm. So, Prabhuji, when Krishna says at the end of this verse that this person peace, attains
Mm.
peace from material pangs, that sort of is like well, it's not the goal it itself, right? It's like a byproduct of the goal.
Yeah, so yes, that's wonderful, Prabhu. The goal is love,
Mm,
and in that only peace is there. It is also said only a pure, liberated personality, a pure devotee is only peaceful. So it's like both are attained simultaneously. It is said even yogis, jnanis, or ashtangis, or all those different kind of people who practice some form of spirituality, even they are also not peaceful because they have some desires. Only a devotee is perfectly peaceful. So they are attained simultaneously, although the main focus is devotion.
mm, mm. Yeah, it must be nice. It's like, but like, I mean, I'm just, this verse, and these things that Krishna is mentioning are, it's making me, I guess sometimes I'll talk about how like it feels like there's no pressure or like the spiritual path, the spiritual realization, it's, is like that there just doesn't have to be as much pressure on this illusory self, but this self, like there doesn't like I don't have to try to take so much control of things. I don't have to um
Mm.
stake so much on my like identity and my reputation and all these things. And so, it's like someone who's all like given all of it up, like you're saying, right? They don't have any of that. There's just peace.
If we stake everything, so much anxiety to keep it that we have taken. But we are like, fine, fine, fine. Let's see, your my lord, I'm surrendering to you. You are in control. So much better. Just like a
Mm,
child has no need to worry about where the money will come from, where the food will come from, where the medical protection will come from, where the shelter will. Just play. But when the child grows up and like I have to take care of my so much anxiety. It's like the child of God.
mm,
Free.
mm. Very nice, Rosie. I did have a question at the beginning, but it was certainly answered throughout here. It was
So
concern. It was going to be concerning like surrender, but I
Mm.
think we
Yeah.
talked about that plenty.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you.
Let's end for today.
Sure, Fuji.
Okay. So thank you for joining and watching Shyamcast. We hope to see you all next week. Bye for now.